Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining today. If you are new to CEOBloc, my name is Jeremy Fromer, and I am the founder of the organization. But CEOBloc's mission is much broader than my initial vision. CEOBloc has grown into an organization dedicated to protecting retail investors. And in that spirit, I want to welcome investors from all stock ticker communities. This is an organization devoted to uniting and not dividing. I know there are larger groups listening out there, and I am happy to have you here. I'm going to try to take approximately 30 minutes once a week to personally update all of those who are part of CEOBloc and listening out there, update you on our progress and what we're doing. I want to give a special thanks today to my co-CEOs on the advisory board, Martin and Dan, who have really stepped up to the plate in a real way over these last few months. And I'm happy that they are the first two CEOs to join our advisory board. We'll be announcing new additions soon, but I'd like to get straight to giving you perspective on the next agenda items that we discussed and I put out in my tweet. The first one has to do with Congress. And I have spoken to the right groups and I'm getting deeper connection into Washington to determine how to get the CEOs of CEOBloc out to Washington to testify to a subcommittee who then can help us move the process forward. Testify to the things that we've seen, heard, the analysis we've been able to gather, testify to what we believe is a systemic problem inside of the financial system. We expect to engage the group in Washington, as I tweeted out earlier, really soon. That cost is $25,000 a month. And now, run that through for a moment. You really need to be able to commit to something like that for a year, because none of these battles, none of these things that I hear people talk about, these very, short-lived tactical weapons, none of them can really break the shorts at a systemic level until the voices of all are heard from the retail investor community and it makes its way through our legal structure. In some ways, no matter how angry we all are, we need to channel that anger to respecting a process. And then I know I see a lot of people on Twitter say, well, we've done that for years and years and we haven't been able to accomplish anything. I understand. Sometimes it takes years and years just to get to the first level, which we really now, with the type of people that are coming together, have a real opportunity for change. And so that's my agenda. Part of my agenda with Congress and the lobbyists are to try to figure out how to actually raise the capital for CEOBloc to be able to pursue these kind of endeavors. Next on my agenda, well, are there any questions regarding the movements that we're trying to accomplish in Washington? I'm happy to take a question or in the chat. Otherwise, we can move on to the next issue on the agenda, which was, when is the next awareness march? I'm not sure who's listening in on this today, and I know there'll be others who will listen to the recording later on. Putting together an awareness march takes a coordinated effort. What Mike accomplished at Occupy SEC was pretty amazing. His ability to have gone the distance, gotten the application, and convinced a group of people from very varying backgrounds to all come to gather for a single cause. And to do that, I'm going to have to find people within the CEOBloc community that can help, because I can't do this next awareness march alone. It takes people making phone calls. It takes people sending out messages. And so right now we're starting to recruit people to become what would be officers within the CEOBloc environment, but from the retail community. There are so many amazing people with so many different backgrounds and talents. So my goal is to recruit from our own current communities to help when it comes to creating the next awareness march. Are there any questions? I know we have a handful of people on, but if any of you have any questions at this point, otherwise I can move on with the agenda. Okay. The next topic of conversation is Upstream. A lot of people have been asking a lot of questions to me about Upstream. Just to give people a broader understanding, Upstream is a mechanism for companies to facilitate either a dual listing and expose broaden their investor reach on their platform and attract new investors. At the same time, it accomplishes a number of execution-oriented operations, such as creating accounts where stock cannot be utilized for borrow. And so again, Upstream is something that I've recommended many of you open up accounts so that you can learn the process and then make educated decisions as to whether or not you want to move some shares there, offer some shares out. I am told that, again, I would encourage you to open the account because I'm told that by early April, U.S. citizens will be able to start buying securities on Upstreams as well as selling them. And so that's one of my other updates I wanted to offer as we try to quickly go through the few agenda items. The next one was really, what is the vision right now for CEOBloc? Like, what are the main objectives we're trying to achieve? One of them is to figure out how to finance some of these endeavors, as I mentioned earlier. One of the visions we have that I thought I would talk about today is we're going to use a Kickstarter-like environment to try to raise capital for what would be taking out ads in some of the biggest international papers, bringing more attention to our retail investor community than we could through days of tweeting. To get things moving, we must attract the national audience. Otherwise, we are just moving around in this never-ending cycle. And so my objective in starting CEOBloc was to achieve more than we could previously, to try to create a real organization with real people that are united around the protecting of the retail investor community and affecting change in Washington. That really is the update that I wanted to give to everybody. I don't have any other things to make note of. I would love to hear any input from the group we have on today, because part of being in CEOBloc is I need to hear ideas from the people listening in, whether they're from the broader crowd. And sure, I'll take questions from the broader audience. Absolutely. So any question that you have regarding what CEOBloc is doing, you can send in a question and I'll answer it. Hopefully we have a few questions that, again, because it's really important. Brian, what has been the response from people in Congress when you bring up these issues to them? Great question. Very positive. I would tell, it's a good question. That's why we do these CEO town halls. I wish more people would ask a direct question like that. I have found very positive reception. In fact, I have found positive reception, or at least the indications of positive reception, from both sides of the aisle. I mean, this is something that I think a lot of people are committed to solving. And it really now is a function of time, organization, duration, and commitment of the retail investor community keep pounding the table on this. But I have gotten good reception. I actually felt, be quite frank, because everybody who listens to me knows me to be a pretty transparent individual. I kind of felt like there was like arguing going on who was going to really represent us, which was really nice, because if we could do things in a bipartisan way, what a wonderful accomplishment that would be. Next question I see, I thought about Upstream, but did not see any tax advantaged account info, i.e. Roth IRA account types. I don't have an answer to that. I can't, again, I don't see why an IRA would prohibit it. I could see why Upstream might say that they have not developed the infrastructure around being able to deal with the transfer agent and accounts structured differently from a normal account, which an IRA account is. And so that would be probably something that I'll ask Mark about when I speak to him next. We speak pretty regularly. And by the way, one thing I want to say is Mark's told me since he and I have been talking about it, that there have been, a significant increase in opening accounts. And the more adaption we get to his platform and to other platforms such as Upstream that we'll be seeing in the future, the more rapidly we adapt to them, the stronger we will be. We are live on Twitter. Please mention anyone on Twitter, Busy Brands, listening to request a mic. Add me in so you can hear it, that question. Busy Brands, are you listening in on this call? If so, you can just type in a question from anybody. Great. So anybody from your community, happy to have them ask a question. You'll just have to type it in. I want to say to everybody out there who's listening, we're trying to address this. I really feel strongly that I want to open up the community to everyone, but at the same time, a lot of people have subscribed, and that money literally, just so people have an idea of what's happening with the first month of the lobbyists, we've raised, I want to congratulate all the people who have done this. We've raised $10,000 in subscriptions through CEOBloc. Created will be matching that $10,000 with another $10,000. And the minute we hit the next $5,000, we're engaging the lobbyist firm and we'll make that announcement. And so on the one hand, I really want to open up these town halls to everybody. But on the other hand, there's things that I want to be able, from a broader perspective, to be able to get focused on with the group that's involved directly in CEOBloc, so that I can get their feedback and what they're hearing out there, such as, that question from Brian about what's been the response from Congress. But Busy, tell me a question. Type in a question, any question. Please let anyone know who's listening to post those. Oh, anybody who is listening, post those questions on your Space Call chat, and Busy can relay them to me. That's the point of, Busy. Part of what we're doing with what I consider to be the authoritative voices in the Twitter Space community is we were trying to unite them in a way. I've hosted now a call with John Savvy and with Busy, because I'm trying to learn how to best optimize that type of environment so that we can include as many people in the organization as we can. So I asked Busy to join and Busy to be able to open up the mic to anybody in his area, but there doesn't seem to be that many questions. Again, this call is specifically about CEOBloc. I'm not really here to talk about, Created or any of those type of other interests that we're involved in. This is more about CEOBloc and what we're next planning. So if there are no other questions, what I would say is please remember to let us know if you want to help with the awareness march that we're trying to structure in New York City. Please let us know if you want to volunteer time in any way if you're from the Twitter space community. And I'm thrilled that we got this update done in 15 minutes earlier than I expected, and so that not too much time was taken. And I will update everybody again and look forward to having a call like this next week. If there are no other questions, Busy from your world, I'm going to then end it and get back to my regular scheduled programming. No questions? Type no questions, so I know no questions. Great. All right. See you all later. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Jamie.